best singer I ever played with, best guitar player I ever played with, I know I'm best drummer they ever had. So,
Chris is a herpes drummer. He's a herpes drummer.
What's that mean?
It means you can't get rid of him.
that's not funny, Dennis.
He's laughing. So.
No, he's incredible, and yeah, the chemistry is amazing. So luck.
And we are back, everybody, for another episode of Level Up Cleveland. This week, we got the guys in here from Bad JuJu. That's right. From left to right, let me introduce the band. Lead vocals, Mr. Chad Moon.
Hello, hello.
On drums, we got Chris Liebhart.
Sticks.
Yep. And if anyone doesn't know, Chad Smith is your brother. And we also have on...
Guitar.
And we also have on... I fucked that one up. And we also have on guitar, Mr. Dennis Davis.
Hey, now. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming down, guys. Seriously, this is cool, man. I think by now most people who live in the area should at least heard of you guys. You guys are a pretty popular band.
Hope so.
One of the more, if not one of the most popular cover tribute combo type things that's going on out there right now. You guys actually just won the award.
We did.
For that's Cleveland Music Awards, right? That's what it was for. And you guys, if I'm not mistaken, it was for Best Cover Tribute Band.
That is correct.
And you guys were up against, I know it was Grunge DNA, and there was two other bands. I'm sure you remember them.
Jester's Revenge.
That's it.
And Billy Likes Soda.
Correct. And you guys ended up taking the prize.
We did. Mm-hmm.
Now this was kind of a popularity contest. Also, it was a dual thing. I mean, it was. Let's be honest. I mean, you guys won because you're fucking good, but also because your fan base kind of voted you guys into this situation. You guys have top fans also, basically, because that's what this was. I mean, you couldn't do it without them, basically. Would that be correct to say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was a bit of a popularity contest, and we have the most rabid fans.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what it was.
Thanks to them. Yeah. So we bring the award to the shows, and we thank everybody for it. And because again, without them, it's non-objective. You know what I mean? It's totally subjective, and it's all about our fans. So.
Yeah, you guys have a pretty rabid fan base, like I know, like a lot of the bands. Cleveland's cool for that though. Like so we had Tricky Dick on here also, and we know some of the, you guys draw, man. I mean, people come out and to see this stuff. This is huge, and I think parts of it's just because they can't see some of the real bands that you guys are actually playing because some of them aren't together anymore. Some of it just doesn't. You can't see them, and some of these bands just snuff Cleveland. So you gotta, if you want to see some of these tunes, you got to come out and see the bands that are doing it well.
Right.
That aren't the band, you know what I mean? That's you guys, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to get back to some of the past with you guys. See how what kind of gets you to this point where you become this thing, because a lot of times these bands that like this is a group of musicians that have got a history already, and now they're trying to make some money and they want to kind of do something like that. And this is how you go. I mean, let's just be honest. You can actually make money doing this the way you guys are doing it. You know what I mean? You get gig enough, you can actually do it. It's not easy to make money in music anymore, but this is the way to do it if you're good, if you can pull it off.
And if you hustle.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. And you got to have guys in the band also that it's not just about playing your instrument. There's such a grind involved in this. You got somebody who's constantly booking you, constantly keeping things going. You got to keep the momentum going. Couple weeks without Bad JuJu, people start to forget. You know what I mean?
You got to stay relevant.
There's a lot of people out there to go see, so you got to be out there.
So I want to start with you, Chad.
All right.
So let's go back to you. Like, when do you sing? You're the singer, and you're a hell of a good singer, man. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, and you have an ability to also mimic some of the people too, and sound like the song and all that kind of stuff, which is critical. When do you start singing? How does that all begin?
It was kind of a happy accident. This is my first band.
Really?
Yeah. I just turned 42 the other day. I joined this band when I was 36, and I was DJing karaoke in a bar when one of the former members found me and said, "Hey, you ever think about being in a band?" And I said, "Yeah, all the time, but never really thought it was practical. Didn't
What do
really
you mean by practical?
Well, I didn't play any instruments. I didn't really know that I was capable of performing in front of an audience or with a live band.
There's a confidence thing more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really comfortable up there, you know, but never having done it before, other than just karaoke. Live music is completely different than you know, tracked karaoke. So
There's a performance involved too,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. So yeah, I said, you know what, I'm going to regret not doing it. So I'm going to go try out, and I tried out, and I auditioned in their basement, and it was very much like an American Idol type thing. There's a couple guys sitting out front, you know, in chairs waiting for their turn, and he literally handed me a piece of paper and said, "Hey, learn these 5 songs and see me in a couple of days." And it just the timing was perfect. Worked out. They asked me to be in the band, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, right. That's an amazing story. That's one of the I don't know if we've ever heard a story where the guy's like, I just all of a sudden just started singing, and you're already in a band and you're winning awards.
Right.
I mean, like, does this feel weird? I mean, like, there's some guys that go through 30 years and 3 decades of doing this kind of stuff, and you don't really ever get these kind of accolades or this kind of stuff. You kind of like 6 years later, and you guys are a big deal in around here already. You know, is that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're all humble guys. I don't think that I'm anything without these guys, and I don't think we are anything without our fans.
Oh yeah.
We really, all of us have really, really good work ethics. We're hungry. We want more. There's no drug on earth that beats the high of being on that stage, and I just want to keep getting higher and higher and higher. So that just means bigger audiences, bigger shows,
I see what you're saying.
more pressure.
Yeah, and you guys don't pigeonhole yourselves too much into anything. You guys play just good music. Like if it's a good song, you'll add it to your list. Would that be safe to say? Like, you're not really pulling exactly from one decade or
90s.
one anything. Is it? But not just the 90s. I mean, like, even like I just said, that Bittersweet Symphony, that's 2000s. That came out after the 90s, wasn't it? That was later on.
We kind of cast a wider net. We do sprinkle in some 80s. And that's more for, I mean, obviously, if we're doing a show where they require a tribute, the tributes are the ones that get the bigger shows, inevitably. So we wanted to narrow down our field to 90s rock tribute. But we can cast a little bit of a wider net and say, you know what, anything from 88, we'll count it. 88 and above, we'll count the 90s. And as long as it doesn't bleed any further past 2005, I think we're safe.
So you guys do kind of have boundaries. So you've kind of set some boundary and said, we don't want to go outside of here. But I mean, but it's still pretty big. It's still almost a 15 year, 13 year you can pull from. So it's a lot of songs that you guys can pull from. Now, is this something that you guys constantly update? I mean, do you constantly update your set list and constantly, is this something that you're always working on, adding new songs to?
Yeah, if you're in a band, there's always a song you want to do. You're always bringing something new. It's not necessarily going to be done because, you know, hey, I don't see it that way, or, you know, maybe it doesn't fit the crowd. But yeah, it's a constant rotation of how about this, how about that, and maybe this song didn't work, try it out. So
now, does that what happens? One guy usually brings an idea. Guys hear a song on the radio, and you're like, "Oh my god, I forgot about that song. I'd love to play that song." Guy brings it in, mentions it to you guys, and says, "Is everybody on board?" And if it's not a unanimous thing, then is it like trash? Move
Well,
on?
just because one of us like a song doesn't mean it's going to go over to the audience.
Oh, that too, yeah.
And our fan base is what we pretty much talk about. Is this something that they're hungry for?
So you guys play that. That comes into it. You guys have kind of feel like you have a good feel for what basically excites them, and then you guys kind of go that route.
Yeah, I mean, I know that cover bands tend to get a bad rap because you have to, inevitably, you're doing somebody else's music, right? But you have to give it your own voice without losing what made that song that song. And then you got to kind of put your own energy behind it. So yeah, we certainly consider our fan base. We certainly consider how we think it's going to go over. But more importantly, are we going to translate it the way that it's supposed to be translated? So we'll change arrangements. We'll change things to suit us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're trying to be more of a concert show band, which typically means that, you know, a little bit more instrumental, a little bit some segues.
You're just playing to the crowd, man. I mean, that's it. It's like more like a
anything we can
party.
do to give them goosebumps.
absolutely.
I understood. Yeah.
I want to add to what Chad says. I believe we do justice to the songs that we play. So you'll think about, here's the way I try explaining to people. They go, well, you're just a cover band, tribute band. You're playing other people's music. And I always like to look at them and say, did you ever watch a movie when you was a kid and went and saw it again when it was remade? We're remaking the movie.
I love
remaking
it.
the song. We're doing it. We put our hearts, our souls into it. And if we don't do it as good, we try and do it better than the original artist.
Well, it's funny you say that because we hear that too, the cover band thing, and to be honest with you, that's just bullshit. We get a lot of guys in here that are like the top musicians, like these guys have been doing it forever and they're phenomenal guys. And every one of these guys will say the same thing, where when they start learning other people's music, the problem with learning other people's music is you have to go outside your own box to learn these people's songs. And it inevitably makes you better because you're not doing things that are comfortable anymore. You're doing things that it's comfortable for other people, not for you. And especially if you're going to try to nail this tune and make it sound like that, you got to do things that you're not comfortable with to get to that song, to get to that point. That's what makes great cover bands magicians. Like, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. Just because you're not writing the song, it's just the one aspect of this whole process that's not involved. There's things that songwriters have to do that, they don't have to do, that you guys have to do. A songwriter stays within their own box. They're comfortable. They're writing from their heart. They're writing. You guys got to reproduce that. It's not always as easy as people think it is. So it requires some serious musicianship to pull it off.
So on that note here, Chad has his own style, Dennis has his own style, and I have my own style. With learning everybody else's style and putting our twist to it, that's what makes Bad JuJu.
Yeah, it's sweet. Speaking of what you just said, I almost forgot to mention that there's a fourth guy in Bad JuJu that we almost forgot to mention. He's the bass player, and that's Steve Kovacs.
Yep.
And Steve is also kind of a new guy. Right, I mean he's
new.
fairly new guy in the band, right? I mean, so tell me a little bit about that story real quick while we're bringing him up. So Steve replaced somebody. Who is Steve?
Dan. So Steve replaced Dan Cabasa. Dan Cabasa was one of the original founding members. Been busting his ass in Bad JuJu for 6-7 years, and he stepped away for medical reasons, work on his health, focus on his health. And Steve, who's been a musician and a friend of Dennis's for
7 years.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, he's been
We've
around.
been in bands.
He was in. He's been in quite a few tribute bands, and they've been in bands together. So Steve stepped up, and I believe he's 4 or 5 shows in. He's been with us practicing for maybe 2 months, 3 months, and he's already gigging with us. He'll be playing with us tonight. So
Sweet.
yeah.
All right, Chris, talk a little bit about your past. Like one thing I will say, like these bands that I'm talking about, bands like you guys, usually there's each guy has his own like history, and then now you guys are all together making this kick-ass shit. But it takes time, don't it? Like each one, you got to get yourself here. What got you here, man?
Well, started playing drums about when I was 7.
Wow.
We'll skip way up to jazz band, marching band, and then joined the service. When they found out I played drums, I sponsored the United States and Germany, and I toured and won 7 gold medals against bands, singers, solo singers, everything. I won 7 gold medals. I would have went to one more competition, but there was a bomb that blew up in a German bar, and there was an American in there that killed him, and they canceled the final competition.
Really?
So yeah.
So before we go any farther, I want to make sure I understand exactly what you're saying. So this was like an Olympic competition for musicians. Would that be safe to say that's what you're talking about here?
It was a 7th Corps competition of all of the army posts and any military posts in Germany. It was a competition against all musicians.
And you won 7 gold medals.
Yeah,
That's pretty good, dude.
thank you.
That's pretty good.
So anyhow,
And thanks for serving, too. That's cool too. Appreciate that also.
welcome. Right on. Come back to the States. Did some drumming around Oklahoma. Got out of service. Moved back to Oklahoma. Worked with bands and warm-up bands. I was pretty good friends with all the members of Pantera, Foghat, Head East, Armored Saint, Grim Reaper, Halloween. Hung out with people like that. Then went through the United States a lot. We did a small tour New Mexico, all the way down Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Louisiana, Florida, and then come back. Then I got a little homesick, come home. Our lead singer, lead guitarist, we went to L.A. He moved there because he's air traffic controller, and he called me up and said he'd be dead in 6 weeks because he got colon cancer. He was a genius and amazing, and he died in 5 weeks. So that was the end of our band. Was called Buster Cherry, like Buster Brown, Buster Cherry. So he died in 5 weeks. I pretty much kind of hung up music and started DJing at bars and shit like that. And I haven't been in the Cleveland music scene, I'm going to say maybe 2016.
Oh, wow.
I kind of got in a band in Akron. It was a country band. It's called Whiskey Loco.
Oh,
And
I played with them.
and I was a little. I'm a showman. When I play, I like to put on a show. I'm a hard hitter.
Like a Bonham type thing? Like you
No
smash
shit.
smash them like Bonham type thing?
He's a banger.
I'm a showman. If you look at a video on TV or any bands, that's the way I play. I'm not a pocket drummer. I mean, I like to keep good time, but I like to put on a show. I like to enhance what he's doing. If he's jamming, I drop back and I'm a band member.
I got you.
All right. So they wanted someone more in the pocket. So okay, they got rid of me, and I ended up auditioning for a band called My Drunken Uncle, and they're out of Akron, and they were okay. We had an arrogant guitar player who's
Did you say arrogant guitar player?
arrogant asshole. I mean, arrogant guitar player, but he I don't know. I think he's 52 now, and he still carries around a card. He told me that he graduated from Berklee School of Music, and he still has it, and it's beat up. I go, oh yeah, that's Berklee, but you still suck. Probably one of the worst guitar players I ever played with. But
Oh, my God.
so anyhow, he kept holding me back. Don't tap your foot with the hi-hat. I'm like, whoa, dude. He yelled a couple times on stage because he's really high-strung. I don't know if he does caffeine or not, but he's fucked up. So anyhow, I was looking on Facebook, and I'll tell you this about me. If I give you my word, I'm going to do a job for you. I am dedicated, wholehearted. So August, these guys had an ad on Facebook looking for a drummer. And Dan Cabas put it on there. I was like, man, I should call these guys. Bad JuJu. Nah, fuck it. I gave these guys my word. I'm going to hang into it. Hang on. My drunken uncle. By the time October come, I was laying in bed. And I was scrolling through Facebook. And I saw Dan Cabas was online, and that was the bass player. I said, fuck it. Larry yelled at me on stage again because, I don't know, his tampon fell out, and I picked it up and handed it back to him. But
Sorry, Larry.
Larry takes some shit today. So. Go on.
well, anyhow, I texted Dan. I said, hey, by the way, you guys looking for a drummer still? And he goes, oh, we found one, but we're getting rid of him. And I was like, oh. And I said, well, I'd like to audition for you. And he said, well, let me talk to the guys. And he set up an audition at Dennis's place. And I went there, audition, and I learned, I don't know, maybe 20 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 20 songs. And this guy here, I was like, he's a load. He he's singing. He was singing. He had me laughing so hard. I said, they ain't going to like me. Anyhow, I was like, wow, these guys are amazing. Hope I learned the songs good enough, learned them, blah, blah, blah. So they said they're all going to talk. A couple of days went by. I said, hey, we'd like to have you come back. And you could do the job. You're better than who we have. Maybe you can get by with us. Maybe you can take some lessons. No, he didn't say that. Anyhow, so I said, great. We'll have one more practice. We did one more practice. And so just say this was in the end of December, beginning of January. Now they have two backup drummers. And they called me like January 15th and said, we got a problem, Dan. And I go, well, what's that problem? We got a job like January 28th. And neither of our backup drummers can do it. Do you want to do it? I was like, shit. That was a lot of songs, man. I was like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, 3 sets you guys are doing, right? Three full sets.
this was a 4-hour show, so
Yeah.
it was a lot of material, and I went and did the show. And I'm not the best, but I'm going to tell you what, I had a really good time. Didn't fuck up the night, and they said, "Why don't you just keep on playing?" And just been getting tighter ever since, and really good communication. It's probably best singer I ever played with, best guitar player I ever played with, and I know I'm the best drummer they ever had. So,
Chris is a herpes drummer. He's a herpes drummer.
What does that mean?
It means you can't get rid of him.
that's not funny, Dennis.
He's laughing. So.
No, he's incredible, and yeah, the chemistry is amazing. So we lucked out.
Who do you drummer wise influences like type thing? What are you coming up? I mean, the hard hitting says bottom, but I don't know. I mean,
I play a lot of bottom stuff.
Yeah.
So I know I could talk a long time. So I played a show at my shop. Well, I had a band play a show at my shop. I had like a summer party and had food and all this shit, pieing contest, watermelon, and had a band around the corner. And my sister was around the other side, and I said, "I'll be back." And I went up and I played like 4 songs with the band because they come back around. She goes, "Was you just playing drums?" I went, "Well, how do you know?" She goes, "I know your style." So it's funny. I started when I was learning playing drums, a lot of 70s stuff, and I don't idolize this drummer, but I learned a lot of Steve Miller, a lot of Boston, and I like playing Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And then I got into the Zeppelin bottom and stuff.
So you learned how to play drums first, like just like how to play, and then you gradually went into the more
so
sophisticated.
looking at Dave Weckl and all these guys that are prodigies, I know I'll never be that because I'm just not built like that. Everything I learn, I have to work at, and I can't say I'm real fancy. I don't emulate anybody, and I don't look up to any drummer. It's just
Really, that's odd. I mean, I'm usually drummers like drummer music too. Like how many drummers love Rush and how many drummers, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, Neil Peart's he's a good drummer, but I don't idolize him.
Right.
Look at Yes, look at the Police, look at all the.
Yeah, right. All the guys, every one of them guys is a great drummer. Now, do you have bands that you really like? Is there a go to as far as that goes? I mean,
Yeah,
I can't see it.
Show it.
I can't see that.
Boston,
Oh, really?
Chicago.
I see the Chicago one.
Yeah, I like bands like that. It's
Very melodic type stuff, though. Those are melodic bands.
I'm not a Dream Theater guy. I'm not a technical. I like music.
I got you.
The stuff we're playing now is usually 3-piece musicians, and the drums are a big part of it because it's solid and hard hitting, and it's easy the way these guys put the music together to be solid and a fat drummer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
You have all kinds of room to play, do whatever you want because these guys are covering all the other bases.
Feels good.
Yeah, I got you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit with Dennis, hear Dennis's story, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Bad JuJu.
Sweet.
When we come back, a couple minutes here with the guys from Bad JuJu.
Hi, this is DJ Terry from the Homegrown Hit Show on 216 Beat Radio. If you're looking for something to do this week, on Monday, January 23rd, it's comedian Michael Copenhaver at Knacker Jacks in Warren. And on Friday, January 27th, it's Brian Allen Hager at the Downtown Hex Tap Room in Massillon. You can also catch R.O. Me at the Old Homestead Tavern in Cleveland. On Saturday, January 28th, it's Camel Butter at the Beachland Ballroom or Brute Squad at the Solid Gold Lounge in Brook Park. And last but not least, it's Tricky Dick and the Cover-Ups, and they're at the Round the Corner in Lakewood. So whatever you do, stay safe, keep rocking, support local music. So DJ Terry out.
And we are back, everybody, with the guys here from Bad JuJu. We got Chad, Chris, and Dennis. But we're going to talk to Dennis a little bit now because we've already talked to the other two guys, kind of got a little bit of their history. And we're going to hear the guitar player's history a little bit. What gets you into guitar? How do you start? How far back does it go? And how do you get to the Bad JuJu thing?
Do the abbreviated version. I was lucky enough to have a father who played. Sorry, it keeps bumping. And so I was blessed with Gibson, Fender right out of the box, good guitars, in-house teacher. So I just picked it up and put it down throughout my whole childhood, and he was nice enough to let me come back to it and everything like that. And eventually I played out with him when I was 15, drums. I got turned on to drums. So, I got in-house, child rebellion. You're a guitar player, I'm going to play drums. So did that for a while. And then about 18, got into guitar pretty serious. And then I was, again, lucky to have a dad who was into bands, and he brought me into bands with him. And I cut my teeth with him, and then I just learned about amps and playing live and what's the difference between sitting down to play versus playing standing up, which you believe is a huge difference when you're a guitar player. So, you fast forward to now, I've been in, oh my God, multiple country bands, 80s band, multiple tribute bands. I've been in a Journey tribute band, a Southern Rock tribute band, Green Day tribute band, ZZ Top tribute band. So by the time I reached Bad JuJu, I was kind of like done with the tribute stuff. I don't want to wear a fake beard. I don't want to wear a wig,
I got
Mr.
you.
Chad. I don't want to shave off my body hair so I can look like Anthony Kiedis of the Chili Peppers. I just want to play guitar in a 90s band. So I'm like, who are the 90s bands in town? There's Jester's Revenge. I've seen them live. I was like, fuck it. If that guy drops dead, I'm in. So in waiting for something to come along like that, I joined a band, and it was pretty half-assed, but I didn't have anything else. So just like Chris, I saw an ad. Said, this Bad JuJu looking for a guitar player. I was like, fuck, that's perfect. And they weren't really looking for somebody. They were looking for someone to cover somebody, because the guitar player before me had other interests, and he was kind of like, if you're in Bad JuJu, we always say this when we bring someone in, get ready to play. Get ready to give up your summer, and we hustle. And if after 3 months you're like, we play too much, I don't like this. Like, dude, what are you doing? You knew coming in that this was going to be who we are and what we do. We pound the pavement. That's why we got the award, the Cleveland Music Award. We are out there. Our name is out there. So
Every week you guys are pretty much playing, right? I mean,
absolutely.
That's, if not 2-3 times a week sometimes.
We
right?
have other bands who are like, holy shit, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is how you do it. So I came in. It went great. It was like the weekend before COVID shut everything down. So I got to play Friday, Saturday, and they were having a Otterfest, Tom Otter shout out, at the, oh shit, what was that, Chad? Sandtrap, which isn't there anymore, unfortunately. And we're sitting there playing, and it was like, Billy Like Soda hosted it, and there's all these bands get up and doing like a little bit. And in the background, the TVs with the news, like Mike DeWine's going to shut down the bars tomorrow. And I'm looking around like, fuck, I just kind of got in this band, and now the shit's going to hit the fan. And it was
That's
awful.
what happened, huh?
Oh, God, yeah. So you get around to May, June, and things are starting to loosen up, and they're like, well, the other guitar player's staying, but we're going to add another guitar player. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. And then he just kind of was like, okay, I think I want to go do my own thing, and then it became my full-time gig. So I've been in the band 2.5 years, and for all the experience I've had in other bands, this one, and not to because Chad's here, or Chris, sorry, I keep hitting this. It's different. It's weird. Like my dad, when he taught me into it, he's like, look, he was really strict about don't fuck crazy. Stay away. I'm sorry, Chad. Stay away from crazy women because they'll fuck you up. And he had a brother who would go out there. He would dance around with like a mic, not wireless. And these guys would see him hitting on his wives, and they'd step on their mic cord. Sorry. And, my dad's like, someone's going to come in this bar and fucking shoot us. So he made sure I understood. Like, he took me to see Fatal Attraction, the movie, when I was like 13, and said, this is not what you want, so be careful.
Oh,
so I've always had that in the back of my head.
So your dad was like a real teacher. He's teaching you guitar, and he's teaching the most important lessons of life.
He'd grab a beer. I was 13. He's like, you need to learn how to drive. And we'd go driving, that kind of thing. But the stuff he was telling me about, like, hey, man, when you're playing guitar, women are going to come on to you. Hey, people are going to look at you different. I never had that. I've been around for a long time. Sure as shit. Now it's starting to happen. Of course, I'm married. I got 2 kids.
Oh, yeah, that's what they wait for that.
I got the built-in yarmulke now on the top. So, so it's
a skin yarmulke.
Yeah. So no matter how long you've been doing it, you can always get yourself into a band like Bad JuJu, playing at the local tonight at 9 p.m. in Strongsville. And learn something new and see new things and be around people. Even Chad says, this is my first band. I don't know what I'm doing. No, bullshit. He knows what he's doing. He's been around.
So the you three now that are here, like like the story that we've been told just now is there's just been a turnover, and now we're at this snapshot in time where it's these guys in the band, right?
Right.
Do you all feel like this is it? Like I mean, I obviously we can't say Steve yet because he's just kind of like got into the band, but I mean, you kind of got a feel for that now. You said you're 4 or 5 shows in with him too, right? Mm-hmm. So does this feel like it's the right 4? Does this feel? I mean, I know it's hard. I mean, like it's be hard to say no, but I mean, like, does it? Does it feel like this is the right 4 guys for this project? Like this could probably be the last of the turnover, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, you again, being that this is my first band, I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't expect as much turnover as we've had.
What's the number one reason for that? Like, it seems like you guys are having a fucking good time and everything. What happens?
It's very demanding.
Yeah,
it's very demanding.
Is that what it is? It's just the grind and the just the whole.
Yeah, it's demanding and
gruelingness of it.
You know, if 3 of us are pulling because we want to play 2 times a week and stay relevant and get up in everybody's face and leapfrog the big bands, we have to be out there working on our craft and getting in people's faces and making fans and accumulating a fan base. 6 years ago when I joined the band, we had 200 Facebook followers. Now we're in the 5,500s.
Yeah, right. Big difference.
And we've leapfrogged a lot of the bands that were above us, from a popularity standpoint at the time. So I think it's I'm driven, Chris is driven, Dennis is driven, Steve is driven, and we all have the same vision. Matter of fact, we had a meeting last night to talk about our vision, to talk about, hey, we're going to go pedal to the metal. We're pulling out all the stops, and we're going to expedite this timeline because there's a shelf life on this shit. Right now, we have people's attention. We have the award. We have to back up that award, and we just want to fucking go get it. We want to go and get. We want to make people feel the way that we feel when we're performing for them. You know what I mean? We want to reciprocate that energy.
Hell yeah! Now, as a singer, the one thing that's interesting about you is that you say you're relatively new at it. And you guys are doing this kind of grueling schedule where you're playing 2-3 shows sometimes in a week. So there's a certain stamina factor, especially on the vocal here, where you got to learn how to if it's a 3-day weekend that you're going to play 3 days on a weekend, you got to be just as good on that 3rd day as you are on that first day. How did you learn how to do that right? I mean, like you didn't have much time to really learn this techniques and the things that go into like preserving your voice.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? I mean, are you just got like a steel throat, or is
no, definitely not. And before I get into the answer, so Dennis was in a lot of tribute bands.
Oh my!
I hope the camera can see this.
I want you're going to send me that picture,
dude. This is a Chili Peppers tribute band.
Oh my god!
And I'm willing to bet that he wears that wig sometimes for his wife, but. This is going to be a picture that we sell at our merch table eventually.
Oh,
or
yeah.
a shirt
Put it on a
or
shirt.
Something, dude.
Yeah, man.
Chad put one on a shirt, something like that.
You're going to have to send that picture to me. I'll give you, send it to me. I'll put
sure.
that up there for sure, man. That's awesome.
So the question was vocal stamina. The members, the current members, and obviously members past have all, I've been a sponge to everyone. I don't care if you were in the band for 3 months or if you were in the band for 6 years. I have learned something from everyone. I ask a lot of questions. I've sought out vocal coaches. I mean, YouTube. Without YouTube,
that is a vocal coach.
Yes, exactly. It's a free vocal coach.
Anything coach.
I have some bad habits, right? Like I smoke. I like to drink. Don't drink before a show. Don't drink at a show. Alcohol dries out your vocal cords.
Do you follow that rule?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are times, when we're partying, we're partying. If I'm feeling the vibe and everyone's getting shit faced and the
you might join in, and that's the end of that.
The fans want to get drunk too. Yeah. A lot of warm ups, a lot of warm downs. I practice at least 5 days a week on my own. So I'll just do some vocal exercises.
What about just driving around in general? Do you drive around? Do you tend to find yourself singing and practicing at those moments?
Yeah, I do. But that's just more because I get into the song.
I got you.
I try not to do that because a vocal coach once told me that if you have the volume way up and you're trying to hear yourself while listening to music in the car, you're going to strain your voice.
It's just like playing live.
That's it.
Yeah, it's just if not those monitors, if they're not right, then you're killing yourself
exactly.
trying to, and you don't sound good.
Right.
Right. You never sound good when you can't hear yourself.
That and of course the guys, they cover me, right? So we've implemented a couple songs where Dennis does a song. Dan did one back in the day. They fill in backing vocals. Our harmonies are incredible. I think that's one of our
you guys all
staples.
sing? Does everybody sing?
Everybody in the band, yeah.
And real quick, Steve, when he got into the band, was part of the reason he was able to do this was because he had vocals ability. So you guys were looking for that at the time.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Dan was a critical part of the vocals. Dan's got crazy range that none of us can hit, and
Michael Anthony of Van Halen, where you had that one guy who could just hit those things and stuff like that. Makes you get. It creates a sound for the band. You're like, though, that's the band that has that guy.
Yeah.
He's in the back there doing them things, How about you, Chris? You sing too? Do you?
Yeah, I was actually. That's funny you said that. I did some work with a band called Adam X, and filled in a lot with them. And he always says, "You sing like Michael Anthony." Just for he said because I did a lot of Van Halen, and I did the.
You could do that upper register stuff.
Not the best, but I did the best I could.
Well, if you're in the background, you don't have to be perfect. You just gotta kind of get the notes in that area so it sounds right in the background. But that's cool, man. That's really good. And I think that's one of the biggest things that separate bands is harmonizing and people that can do that and actually have the backing vocals there. It changes everything in a band so quickly.
He's really good at it.
Oh, thanks, man.
There's usually one guy who's like the main backup guy. Would that be you? Would you be like the main dude and then everyone else kind of like
Dennis
harmonizes with that?
Yeah, I guess so. That may be more by default, but yeah.
Well, in a lot of bands, it is the guitar player, so it's not that odd.
I'll never sing the same note as anybody. That's a pet peeve of mine. I don't even like doing gang vocals, so I'll drop out of that. Whatever he's singing, I harmonize with. But he can find those odd pitches that you hear in songs like, what is that note? He'll find it.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. So where did you learn how to do that? Because that takes you have to learn that. That's not something you just know, is it?
Yeah, I when I was in high school, there was a guy who sang really well, and he taught me harmonies. But then I just kept with it through the whole time sermon. And I was never good at like the Michael Anthony stuff. I had to go the David Crosby route and find the underneath stuff. So I got really good at being underneath because I'd be in bands where it's just natural to go to that third, to match the harmony. I want to go underneath the main. And not many people can do that. So I was like, that's where my home's going to be. So it was just through the years being.
Yeah, and that creates a real professional sound. It probably, because you have all those different harmonies going, it sounds like the song more now because a lot of these have 3-part, 4-part harmonies in them.
Singing's a big deal. Most people are stupid when it comes to music, the people that come see us, but they always recognize the singing. That's why it's so important to have a good lead singer. I can do all this amazing stuff on guitar. Woo! They don't catch most of it. But the singing... it has to.
Especially with you guys. They're singing along and they want to know. They know the words, so they come out.
That's right.
That's the common person. That's what they do. I mean, the common person's vocals and singing. And how often do you see people air drumming in their car? How often do you see people singing the songs in their car? You know what I mean? That's what people do.
Yep.
That's what they do. So, you guys, how often do you guys do new material? I'm curious. How do you guys every week? Would you say? Put out anything new every month? How often do you guys change up things and add things to things? And how many songs do you think you know?
That's
as a group.
Yeah. Over 100?
That we could do like right now, go out and play.
Could you say you know over 100 songs? Could you take over 100 and make a set list like multiple set lists out of that type thing?
I don't think our library is quite to 100 yet.
But it's up there.
I would say in the 60s.
Oh, that's a lot.
But with all the transition, it's a 2-part answer, I guess. We're doing more now than I think we have over the past few years as far as expanding our library. I think that's the short answer. So we're going to be over 100 right now with the addition of Steve and the addition of all the new material. We're practicing at least once a week. We added 6 songs this past month, which is a lot for us.
That's a lot, but that seems like you almost kind of. You got to kind of do that, right? I mean, like you got to stay relevant, and no one wants to see the same show twice, really, right? And that's what you guys are probably like when you say you're out to please the fans and stuff. I want to see a different show than I saw last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we want a huge library, and then we want to be able to tailor that to the demographic of whatever venue we're playing. So, a lot of the shows that we're signing up for this year, we're either headlining or opening, and those are 90-minute, 120-minute shows. So we don't need anywhere near that many songs, but now we can tailor that. We can manipulate that on the fly. And like I said, we change arrangements a little bit. Yeah, we just want to stay relevant. We want to keep people, we want to give them a reason to come back and see us.
Do you guys stick to the set lists, or do you guys are set lists more like suggestions?
We're pretty good with the set list just because we have guitar changes, tuning changes, so we sort of need that built in.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Kind of keep the show.
Do you guys mesh one song into the other and have like points where it'll just be like 3 songs in a row and it just sounds like one long song, or do you take a break after every song? And
Yeah, we haven't done any mashups. What we're actually doing is to instead of having the dead air. I mean, there's going to be occasions where there's dead air, and I have to do some talking. I have to say some things, make some announcements while they change guitars. We're trying to implement instrumental segues. So we want there to always be some sort of a noise, always something going on, whether it's a drum solo, whether it's a bass solo, whether it's a guitar solo, whether it's a potential track, whether it's me tinkering around on the keys or something.
So the song ends, but bass and drums might keep going
Exactly.
while you're talking over that,
Yeah.
and then you guys know how to get into the next tune from there, and
Correct.
so you're just keeping a constant flow.
Yeah.
I think that's what Tricky Dick said they did too. They just take all their songs and make one set is one song.
Yeah.
Literally, they don't stop ever, which I just think, especially for the drummer, is fucking insane.
Yeah, those
like
guys
you
are-
don't get a break.
Yeah, we us drummers have it rough.
And a singer. I mean, like, seriously. I mean, it was Neil Peart that said, he was always like, the fucking guitar players got it so easy. But I mean, seriously, when you're putting together, man, some of these sets and stuff like that, if you're not going to take a break, see, to me, stamina is so, stamina is so impressive to me with music, like it's a big changing as far as like what one band can do versus another. You get a guy who could play drums and drummers are so important, man. They are, man. You need that guy because he lays down the foundation for everything.
Well, I'll elaborate on the stamina thing. So we did Rocket on the River, and then also I'll say Warren Amphitheater was even more grueling. Pretty hot out. We did 2 hours straight.
2 hours straight.
And I have everything that I have on that stage, and what people don't know, when you're in the midst of doing what we do, your body and your mind is so focused on pleasing everybody, and you're at such a freaking high.
Adrenaline.
And yeah, so our job after we're done playing is to get everything off stage like in 20 minutes. The last note of the song, bam, I hit it. I set my sticks down. I could barely get out of my chair. Now, I could have done 2 more songs if we had an encore, but I could barely stand up and help carry stuff off.
It's not, dude, that drumming thing, man. Like, I've always been able to play the drums, but like a half a song and I'm done.
Well, my point is about that.
Like, I don't know how you fucking do this.
You never end the energy while you're playing.
Yeah, right.
You never lose it for some reason, and I couldn't even explain it. It was
It's a
just
mindset, really. I mean, it's just your brain. It just takes you to that next level. I mean, you've seen even in sports, exhaustion. What game was I just watching? It was a football game. The quarterback for Texas Christian, TCU. The guy was he would run in for a touchdown. He'd lay on the ground. They had to pick the guy up, and you're like, this guy's done. And next play, he's running down the field again. And you're just like, this guy,
right on.
adrenaline, man. It can keep you going and stuff. And in this game, you got to have it because the show has to go on no matter what. You know what I
matter
mean?
what.
If you're feeling like shit, it doesn't matter. No. They have drugs for that.
well, and
Yeah, it's called pussy.
that's funny.
Sorry, my dad taught me that.
So that's funny you said that, and I've never badmouth any musician.
Except for that guy, Larry.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would never badmouth any musician that died of a drug overdose.
Oh.
And I can't say Taylor Hawkins, who I think was a extremely phenomenal drummer. People don't realize he just got done making a movie. He's on tour. He's doing interviews every day. Every day, these guys are just bombarded. No matter what, you always have something going on, and you're flying to the UK or what, everything's always going on. So if he was exhausted, and I'll say somebody will give you an energy drink. Here, try this. All right, so now you're done with energy. Here, try this. Take one of these. Oh, here, try this. Oh, here, try this. You don't know what someone's been through, and you don't know what it takes to get through these shows and get through making everybody happy. And all the work we do behind the scenes, practice, arranging our music, meetings, driving 4 hours to a show.
Yeah.
And then setting up. Then
You just see all people see is what goes on stage for hour and a half to 3 hours or whatever you're playing for. The amount of work that goes into it outside of that little thing right there, that's just a fraction of what goes into it. Yeah. Not to mention what you're talking about with as far as drug use in music. We've talked to a bunch of the guys who've been on tours, European tours and everywhere, and there's so much downtime. So that like when you're in Germany. And you've never been to Germany before, you don't know anything about Germany, and you're just there to play a gig that night, you got 6 hours of time sometimes where you're in a hotel or you can walk, but you're not going to go anywhere. You don't have your car. You can't drive anywhere. So you got downtime. You got time to wait. You're waiting for the show. Well, what happens? Well, let's go get a bottle. Let's go get some of this. And it grows. And eventually, just to fill time, these guys are just getting fucked up. I mean, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, prostitution is legal in Germany.
Yeah. So you can just fuck all the time. Yeah. But good luck paying a full set after that.
Challenge accepted.
Have you guys been anywhere? I mean, you've been outside. You've been overseas. You guys been overseas too?
No.
Never? Now, let me ask you something. Like, you're all top-notch musicians, I mean, stuff.
Thanks.
Are you guys happy with how your careers took off and where you're at now? Is this are you good now, like with the spot you're in? Is this like, I like that, I'm glad I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all have ambitions, but are you good? Are you good now?
I'm good. I'm real good.
Are you happy with it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been in bands that don't play much, bands that play too much, bands that travel. I was so happy to get into Bad JuJu, and I was able to bring my personality into it, my energy level into it, so I'm real happy.
Nice. How about you guys? I mean, you guys, is it you cool with it? I mean, is everything?
You talking to me?
Any one of you guys, man.
Well, where I am with this band now, I'm my worst critic. I beat myself up. So I'm always asking, am I doing good enough? I'm always trying to do better. Am I happy with where we are? I'm happy with where we're going.
Oh, I like that. That's cool. Cool.
I don't want to let these guys down.
That's cool.
I mean that from my heart.
That's cool. That's what. How about you, man? Like you're this has got to be kind of like crazy for you. Like not that long ago, you weren't even thinking about something.
Yeah,
like this.
right.
And you're fronting the band.
I'm content and happy with what we've accomplished, but I'm not. Maybe I'm happy with what we've accomplished, but I'm not ready to rest. We're not resting on our laurels.
I got you. You're not happy.
We have to back up this music award. We have to back up all the venues that have taken chances on us. We have to back up all the fans that have taken time out of their day and spent their hard-earned money buying our merch and buying our tickets and seeing us. And now we're going out of state. We're working with promoters. We're working with publicists. So we plan on traveling and hitting bigger shows, but not forgetting about where we've come from. And creatively, I'm far from content. Creatively, I want to do so much more. And that's why I think we all get along so well, is because these guys, I'm not as musically inclined as all the other members. Again, this is my first band. I don't have a music background. And so Dennis is critical to me. He basically translates for me. If I have an idea in my head or I hear something that I want to do, he's the one that puts it into practice. He's the one that makes it so that he'll translate it to everybody and say, this is what Chad wants. And then it's perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good. You guys got a gig coming up in a couple weeks. February 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
You playing in Lorraine, Palace Theater.
Lorraine. Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so we are fortunate enough to headline a show there. We're opening, we have Alt 95 opening for us, which there's a history between us and Alt 95. Former drummer of ours, Brad Ruff, started this band, and they're gaining some ground, and we asked, hey, would you guys like to do a show with us? And it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big coming out party. We're going to debut a lot of our new stuff. We're going to put on a real good show for everybody, and it's going to be our litmus test for the summer.
Yeah.
some of the big summer shows.
So how much you guys have booked already for next year for 23? Is the year pretty booked up, or how far are you in?
Yeah, we're pretty full. We have a couple of dates that we're saving, some things that some contracts still yet to sign, a lot of things that are pending. But yeah, people are reaching out and saying, hey, we'd love to get you. Unless they're getting us on the back half of the year, it's very unlikely.
So you guys are normally like more of a bar band, but is that going to continue on through this year also? Are you going to be playing a lot of bars, or what?
I mean,
what can we expect?
You know, we're still gonna play some of the local bars, because we know where we came from, right? And that's, you know, where our fans like to go and have a good time and drink. And all of the venues and all of the bars that we've ever played at have been very gracious hosts, and we certainly don't want to forget that. But this year, we've been fortunate because of the award or because of promoters and such. We're playing a lot bigger shows, so a lot more outdoor theater type of shows,
Some festival type stuff,
festivals, concerts, fairs, music festivals. So we're certainly going to focus our attention on that, and then fill the gaps with the bar gigs.
So some bigger venues, some bigger crowds.
Correct.
Kind of expansion a little bit, huh?
Yep.
All right, guys.
Hey, can I say something quick, Brian?
You can say anything you want.
This is probably goes without saying, but I think all of us cannot thank our fans enough. I've been in quite a few bands. Chris has been in a lot of bands. I've never seen this type of devotion and dedication. I mean, we played a show. We got to open up for Hinder at the Odeon, and it was a sea of Bad JuJu T-shirts.
No kidding.
And even though there's probably hundreds of Bad JuJu T-shirts, we still sell 10 to 12 a show. And that's at bar gigs, that's at festivals. I've never been in something that has this kind of like attraction and dedication. And for myself, it really provides the energy that we feed off of to provide the kind of shows that we provide, which are very high energy shows. We don't stare at our feet or glue them to the floor. We're moving around.
No.
We're trying to entertain people. So from all of us, if you're listening and you're a Bad JuJu fan, thank you so much. You're the reason we do this, and you're the reason we keep doing this and want to get better.
Cool, man. And if people want to see you guys, and they're just to see what you're about, there's stuff on YouTube and stuff. You guys got stuff all over the place. There's video. You can check you guys out and see. I was just watching that. Like I was just telling you before, that Bittersweet Symphony video. You got a string section up there, and all of a sudden you're playing that song with the strings and everything. I'm like, the fucking guys, what don't they do? so that was really cool. It was really cool that you guys would delve into different things and trying out different things. But that's cool, man. We're looking forward to seeing you guys this year. Fairs, festivals, and the bars.
Yeah, if you get the opportunity, you're not already a fan, Bad JuJu Cleveland on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Probably YouPorn coming soon.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Oh, man. All right, guys. Anything else? We good?
No,
that's
you, Brian.
it.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming down, man. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are a blast, man.
Thank you.
And maybe next year you win the award again.
That's right.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. All right. Check them out, guys. They're like this is one of them bands where you don't have to really look hard. They're everywhere. They're playing every weekend. You don't have to look hard. If you go on Facebook, you've probably got an ad already there that says Bad JuJu's playing somewhere. So check them out. All right, guys. That's it for us. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Hello, Cleveland. I am ZM Delgado, author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at ZachO'Lantern.com, and this is your weekend concert calendar update. First on our agenda, Saturday, the 28th at No Class Cleveland, it's Fuck Cancer Fest. This is a benefit show, and it is featuring The Jotun, with support from Atomic Witch, Pillars, Terra Vista, Befallen, and 10,000 Rambos. Second on our agenda, Sunday the 29th, also at No Class, you're going to be able to check out Ignominious, with support from Haxon, Backbiter, 10,000 Teeth, and Demon by Design. That is a lot of heavy metal for one weekend, Cleveland, and I hope to see you out at the clubs. Until next time, rock on, Rust Belt.
That'll be fine.